The current spoiler warning level is Crimson.
Friends and folks, for this episode, you're looking at a spoiler warning level of Crimson. This one's pretty serious. We're talking about a machine from the very end of Season 2 of Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, and then also a lot of plot details and twists and character beats. Basically, this is extremely spoilery for Iron-Blooded Orphans. If you're sensitive to that at all, please save yourself. But otherwise, please enjoy the episode. Hello, friends and folks, and welcome back to another episode of Mechanista in G. Hi, this is Stefan.
And I'm Dylan.
No quips. No quips.
No
Just
quips.
busy.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to talk about this stuff, but this is being recorded February 4th, and February is a very busy month for us over at Scanline because we're putting out almost twice as much stuff as usual because of the Gimmick Awards, and so I am busy. So we're going to keep it simple, we're going to roll something that won't take very long, and we'll still have fun. But I guess that last part isn't guaranteed. I think the odds are good, but I can't force that.
To be fair, even when we don't have fun, I think we have fun.
That's true.
If that makes sense.
That's pretty much true. Yeah. 8. And if I don't like the answer, I'm just going to reroll, which I normally don't allow myself to do. But here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, this will probably be fast.
Okay. Cool.
Just sort of inherent to... No, that one actually wouldn't be. Well, I'll try again.
Okay. All right.
Don't give me the same number again. Bad job, B12. Okay.
You can't blame your tools for this.
I think you'll find.
Well, that you did.
I can and have.
Yeah, I mean, guess you can, shouldn't, but...
Thank you. Oh, okay. Now you're telling me how to live. Okay, I got it. I see. What the hell even is this? Oh, right. Did we talk about that? I think we already talked about this. I think this page actually needs a lot of... This page has to be terribly out of date, because I know we've talked about a bunch of these. I'm just going to do something else. I'm just going to do something else entirely. I'm just going to pick a thing.
Alright, yeah, just pick a thing. That's probably the easiest way, actually.
God, all these pages are so out of date. I keep forgetting to move things. Like, no, we've already done that. Sure. Okay. Yes, we can do that.
Okay. Alright, let's see.
And it won't take very long, I think.
We'll see.
But I don't want to give you too many clues, you know?
Yeah. Alright.
What if we mix things up a little bit as far as your clue?
Okay. Ooh, is this the Gundam Bael?
This is the Gundam Bael.
Yeah, it's the colors. Seeing that that particular shade of blue with the Gundam arm and just it's definitely a Gundam frame. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's clearly an IBO design from the little bit of arm you got there, and then you can see the little bit of blue from the knee, and you just put it together. Yep.
The Gundam Bael. I mean, it will be a quick one, but it's a fun guy. So this
I've got the full mechanics over there unbuilt.
Is the ASW-G-01 Gundam Bael, which is sort of like the lead Gundam. I mean, it was used by Agnika Kaeru, who is the, like the guy who helped unite everyone with Gallarhorn and is a big pilot. He's a big deal guy. He's seen as like a big almost like a folk hero to them, when it comes to like the mythology of Gallarhorn. And so this is the mobile suit he used. And funnily, being as such, and being so untouched since the Calamity War, it is a very simple and bare-bones suit in a lot of ways. Which is honestly pretty great for what it does in the show. But we'll talk about the design first, and then we'll get into all that aspect. So, first of all, with the head, you've got a white Gundam head. The forehead protrudes a little forward. It's got like a little bit of blue on the head. It's mostly white armor, but you got all of these little accents of blue throughout. So like on the top middle of the head, on the V-fin. So the V-fin protrudes very horizontally on this head, and has little blue tips at the end of it. The shape of it is pretty... It has like one little like section of like cutting in the middle of it. Like you can see it from behind. It's just got this like little triangular section cut out of the middle of the V-fin. Otherwise, it's a pretty simple horn. And then for the cheek area, no like visible vents or anything really. It's just kind of pointy armor framing the face. And for the face, you've got a white Gundam face with no face vents or anything. Does have a separate chin, also in blue, though chin has a little bit of a point to it, and then you've got two pink eyes inlaid in there. You have a little bit of the Gundam frame visible around the mask. Very simple head on the whole, though. No, like, extra cameras other than the eyes. No, Vulcans, no vents. Just a very simple armored up head. Ooh, sorry. And yeah, it's oh, right. Sorry. Those aren't visible frame at the edge. I forgot it has these, like, teardrop kind of cuts going on. And then you've got, like, a little bit of, like, detail in there. So it's not actually the inner frame. That's just cuts in the mask. So you actually don't see any of the face's inner frame here. But, yeah. Then moving on to the torso. The torso, very simple IBO-style torso, where you've got the cockpit hatch on the top. Cockpit hatch just kind of comes forward to a point. Does have these little bits of gray on it, but otherwise it's all white armor here. The upper pectoral area, you've got like a flat armor plate above the vents. You do have yellow vents, and then below that you have a little bit more armor on each of the pectorals. You also have, in the midsection of the torso, just white armor going down, kind of similar to the cockpit hatch on top. You have these two like little gray like bits on the edge of the armor. But yeah, and then you've got two little dividers, like, between the torso and the arm. You've got these, like, big white plates. They have a bit of a point on the front and a little bit on the bottom of them. And they just kind of house the area around where the arm plugs into. And then otherwise, the lower torso, no armor. It's all visible Gundam frame. You've got the spine. You've got, like, the two pistons that you usually get on these. And then moving on to the shoulders. For the shoulders, you've got white shoulder armor, pretty overall simple shape for them, just flat armor on the front with like these little tick marks. It kind of goes inward a little bit around the top. It does have two sets of thrusters that are divided by a blue little wedge put into the side of the shoulder, and the thrusters are yellow on the inside. You also get, on the bottom of the shoulders, kind of protecting the inner frame shoulder and a little bit of the bicep, you get this little bit of drop-down armor. Which has the rather common on Gundam frames, little power button symbol, is what it always looks like to me. Just on, like, the little bicep guards there. Then for the bicep armor, though, it's just white armor covering around the front and sides of the frame. You've got exposed frame on the back with some cabling. For the forearms, same thing, it's just kind of white armor around the tops and sides. You've got the little visible wrist cables there. You do have a bit of an extended elbow with like a little blue wedge of armor coming out, which is nice, but otherwise very just simple bare bones armor, no extra functions going on here. And then for the hands, it's just hands with white armor covers. The fingers are pointy, as a lot of the Gundams are. Moving on to the waist, you've got a big like wedge of armor for the crotch piece. It's a little pointy on the front of it. It's got like two tiers of like little points. And then on the top of it, you have another one of those little power button icons. But otherwise, all white armor. The skirts are a plate of white armor on the top. And then behind them, they've got like these little vents. Like, it's got like a plate of armor that hangs down and has a vent on the bottom. Just looks like two distinct sections for the skirt here, even though it's all in, white. And then you've got the side skirts, which are very simple white armor on the front and back and side of them, with a gray, like, thruster, like, director on, like, that ends at a point on the very outside going down, because the side skirts do operate as thrusters. And then the rear skirt, nothing going on the rear skirt. It's literally just a wedge in the back and then two very simple rear skirts. Nothing really going on with them other than these little... You get a little tiny bit of panel lining like on the outer edges of these skirts, but otherwise they're just angular armor going around the leg frame there. Very simple. For the thighs, just a white plate of armor around the front. It does actually have like an extra plate of armor protecting the inner frame around the back. And that little back bit of armor does have like this nice little like section of lines in between the front and the back plate, like on the sides of the legs. So that adds a little bit of detail. You just get these little panel lines going down there. And then for the knees, you've got very highly raised knees with blue, like a little blue tall pentagonal piece, or actually hexagonal, sorry, I just noticed they do have a point on the bottom. Like little tall hexagons with the point on the top and bottom, just as the knee parts. And then the rest of the leg armor, it's all white. You get kind of similar to the ones on the chest, you get these little like ticks of gray on the angles of the front leg armor there, like on the lower leg. For the back of the leg, you do get a little built-in thruster on the back of the calf with a little movable plate above it that has some blue armor at the end of it on the top. And that can like move up and down. You see like the visible cables for the inner frame, but that's really it. No ankle armor even. It's just 2 feet pieces. You've got the front foot armor, which has like a big piece of armor around the top of it, and then you've got the more shoe-like parts at the bottom. It does have a little bit of visible gray on the front of the foot, and then you've got like a little blue toe piece on the front. And then for the heel, it's just a high heel, basically a large gray part with just a large white plate of armor on either side of it. And it's just kind of a tall heel. Finally, for the backpack, you've got white armor that plugs in around the back, gives a bit of a collar to the design. I guess the collar is not part of the backpack, it's just part of the armor there, but the backpack in the middle, you've got like a little tall pointy part on the top and bottom, and then just like same kind of shape on the outside, but a little smaller, and then connected into the hard point in the middle of each section of the backpack, you've got a large wing coming out. The wing is some white armor at first. It has a little bit of an overhang, and then you've got a joint where the wing is then bent downward. And then it's got a little bit of blue armor with some extra verniers on the outside of it. And then it's just kind of more white armor that continues down. You've got one more white part with a joint on it that can, move a little bit. And then like a section of thrusters that are separated by kind of a similar part as the side skirts have, where it's just like a big gray triangular piece in between all the thrusters. And that's basically it. It's the wings are the most noticeable part of it. Oh, I guess I should mention it has the Gallarhorn little like cornucopia on the shoulder, like the little emblem. And that's it though. It's a very simple design on the whole. Like, it's funny because you look at it and it doesn't actually look simple, but when you're describing it, it has no built-in weapons. The armor has no extra functions. You just have like a couple of little thrusters like on the side skirts and on the back of the leg. And then you've got the wings on the back, but that's really it. It's a very overall simple design. I guess one thing I can show that isn't on this art is in the rear skirt in the middle, it actually plugs in a separate... It doesn't even have the holsters built into the armor. The holsters are a separate little gray, like, block that plugs into the rear skirt and then has a holster on either side for the swords to go in. So even, like, the swords that it uses are not, like, mounted to the body normally. Like, it needs an external part to have them mounted in. Which is just interesting compared to a lot of, like, IBO designs, which will tend to incorporate, like, weapons on the body, or at least a little bit. But this is a very...
But isn't that mostly, like, a post...
It's a post-Calamity War thing, though. Yes, exactly. Because when we see stuff, even, like, some other designs that we actually see the earlier incarnations of, they tend to also just be very simple. Mainly because the range... It's not like ranged weapons really do much against the armor they use in IBO.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the times they are just equipped with melee weapons and because they were made for fighting mobile armors, which are already larger than a normal mobile suit anyway. So usually if they have like any kind of ranged weapon, it's more of a distraction for, like, the mobile armor's plumas than any real offense. They're not made for fighting other mobile suits.
Like, here is the Astaroth Origin, and you can see, like, it has the sword and the shotgun and the sheath, which becomes, like, a mace. But, like, there's nothing integrated into this thing.
Yeah. You don't really get, like, the fancier integrated armor stuff until post-Calamity War designs. But I think that's a fun thing about the Bael, is it is such a symbolic design that McGillis captures it as is from, like, a vault that it's been locked in, and then just doesn't add anything to it. He doesn't change it. It does happen to use two swords, which matches his fighting style, but, you know...
he doesn't use the, in the show at least, he doesn't use the electromagnetic cannons in the wings that we know exist.
Yeah, he fires them once during the battle with, like, the Kamar's Vidar, and it's after he's already, like, lost the sword. He kind of just fires them as, like, the Kamar's Vidar is, like, going in for a tackle, and they don't do anything.
I mean, so, you know, arguably, the reason he lost that fight is because he didn't modernize his damn suit.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, the Kamar's Vidar is, like, the complete opposite. It is a suit with lots of built-in things going on. It has a lot going on. You know, it's got, like, the drills built into the knees. It's got the particle accelerators and, like, these external, like, thrusters on the wings. It's got, you know, the big fancy lance that has, like, the modernized technology stuff in it with, like, the Dying Slaves. And the Bael has the Bael swords and the little cannons, and that's it. It uses a lance mace in the manga, weirdly. I can't find a picture of that.
I looked a little. I couldn't find it either. It's funny because, like, part of the point of this machine is that, like, it's supposed to be a statement of strength that it's so under-equipped, right? It's like, no, this is, like, the pilot was so good that this is all they needed. And McGinnis is not a bad pilot by any means, but he's not so astonishingly talented that he doesn't need other weapons.
Well, he's fully... So thing that's so fun about this is he's just fully bought in on himself, right? Like...
True.
Like, that's the thing with the fight. I think I've mentioned it before, but I love the bit where Rustle tells the soldiers, hey, don't interfere with their fight. I want to see how this goes, because, you know, he's watching these two guys who are, like, rivals having a duel, and he's just kind of having fun watching. And so he tells the soldiers not to interfere. And McGillis instead reads it like, look, they're so astonished by our battle that they dare not interfere. And, like, no, those guys were about to try to help McGillis and shoot you, or help Galio and shoot you. It's just they were told not to by their commander. Like, but their
commander was like, commander's like, 1, I don't have that much to lose. 2, I think we're gonna win this.
And it's so funny that he's so bought in on himself. I mean, and he is in a lot of ways. Like, you know, he's also, like, very full on, like, even though he is just using Tekkadan. Like, you know, for all he wants to be like, no, you're a valuable part of our revolution, he's just using them. But he's so, like, when he's like, yes, I also had the AV system surgery, and he, like, reveals, you know, he's got, like, the little back spines going on, and he's, like, he's so full of himself. That's the thing.
You think about the move here, he positions it like he's, like, okay, I'm gonna do, like, a Three Kingdoms reference, right? Yeah. He positions it like he's found the Imperial Seal, right? When he shows up with the Bael, where he's like, look, I found the thing that mandates, you know, the ruler of Gallarhorn. When what he's done is actually he broke into a museum and stole the Declaration of Independence and thought that would win people over. Like, it wasn't a secret where this thing is. People were just like, we shouldn't take that. It's a museum artifact.
Yeah, no. Like, arguably, with this screenshot here, what it really is, I mean, this is what he does with it. He goes in front of everyone and is like, charge my soldiers. That's, like, the true use of it. And, like, yes, he does get kills on, like, normal Gallarhorn soldiers with it. It still is a high-performance suit.
Sure. Very highly tuned.
But it's not, like, it's not changing the war. He cannot single-handedly win the war himself, which is kind of the other big point. He is charging Rustle on his own at the end with this mobile suit, thinking he can take down the fleet with just this mobile suit. Like,
well, and you know,
in a more cynical series, a character would realize that the symbolic thing is only a symbol, but he doesn't. McGillis is bought in fully, is the funny thing.
And the other thing is, it's kind of funny to think about this, but like, I haven't rewatched it in a while. I don't remember what all is happening simultaneously, right? But the thing he tries to do with the Bael, oh boy, my brain just stopped. Give me a second. I hate it when most people like it when their brain stops, but I dislike it when my brain stops. But the thing he tries to do with the Bael, Mikazuki could have done with the Barbatos. If the Barbatos had been leading the charge like that, they would have won.
Probably, yeah. I mean, yeah, no, actually, definitely. I mean, hell, to be fair, the only reason the Barbatos and the full city go down in the end is let's deploy the banned weapons on them real quick. But again, that's also part of the point, right? Is when you've got the moral high ground now, you've already established the moral high ground because they're like, oh, look, they did the false flag thing with, having one of the units painted up like McGillis's forces and firing a Dying Slave. So now they have the high ground now, and they're like, well, we can do whatever we want now. And it's so sad because you just know there's nothing they can do. And it's funny because you're watching an anime, so you don't even though, like, in reality, it makes sense that there's nothing they can do, you don't really expect it necessarily because, you're watching an anime. And I think that's, like, one of the things that really works with IBO is it just hits you with the, oh, yeah, no, of course there was nothing they could do. Like, of course.
It's one of the things that I'm looking forward to rewatching it, is I reacted pretty poorly to the ending last time. It felt like, to me at the time, it felt like there was like a real rush to wrap things up in ways that didn't necessarily like feel satisfying to me. But like, I like the idea of like, I'm sorry, boys, your employer, the person you're following, thinks he's in an Arthurian story and he's in the real fucking world and people don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
And that's what happens.
Like, yeah, he gets a couple of soldiers
like
on
my
his
holy
side.
Sword.
But
yeah. I mean, because it's not like Gallarhorn is like such a great organization. There are legitimate beefs you could have. You could see why someone might side with the rebel. But when that rebel like picks up an assault rifle and taps it and says, "I have Excalibur," you go, "Oh no." Well,
not only that, then you have Rustle going, with all the 7 stars gone, I'm going to reform Gallarhorn. And I have look at me, I am I'm the head of this, and I'm not doing terrorist actions or anything like that. And then, so of course, McGillis' side loses. They don't even have, like, the support of, like, what you would assume is the general public anymore. They look like a bunch of weirdos that threw, like, a Mishima coup d'etat, And then Rustle, cooperates with Kudelia on stuff afterwards, so he just comes out looking fully like a good guy. Which is so fucked up, because he's not, like, a good person. He has his own political ambitions. He just doesn't care about any of this, like, knightly bullshit, but he also doesn't care about, yeah, sure, I'll ban child soldiers and child slaves, sure. I mean, that's not against my objectives, but he's not doing it out of the goodness of his heart either, and I think that's, in some ways, IBO is, like, maybe one of the more realpolitik Gundam shows in some ways, in that regard.
And that's, I think, part of what makes, like, the second season and how, at least, like, the like, winding stages of it. I won't say the ending, because that's a little too short of a period. But, like, that whole arc is, like, realpolitik crashing into this, like, epic story, right?
Yeah.
And, like, dragging it to the ground.
Well, and then, the worst part is, Tekkanen has had several points where they could pull out of this and not be, like, associated with McGillis. And that's, like, the tragedy of, Orga calling him and being like, hey, Rustle, McGillis has gone off the deep end. Can we just, like, have our lives? And he's like, no, you're a symbol of rebellion against, like, my regime. So, no, I'm sorry, dude. But you need to be made an example out of, Like, they just have a casual phone call about it, and it's just like, oh, well, fuck. There's just, like, nothing they can do. And McGillis is just like, no, I've got the Bael! It's fine! I will go and charge their fleet of ships all on my own because all my soldiers are dead, and I'll win this. And it's like, oh.
All of this was so that I could steal the Declaration of Independence. And you're like, fuck.
And well, that's the thing, too. Everyone's realized that, oh, he doesn't have a plan. He says he's gonna reform Gallarhorn and get back at everyone, but he doesn't have any real plan. It's just, everyone will listen to me because I have this. And boom, I win. And it's like, oh, buddy. And, you know, like I said, even Orga and them have realized, oh, we hitched our horse to the wrong wagon here. That's not good. No.
Well, it's wagon to the wrong horse, because if you're just a horse, you can then cut the reins and run it right away.
You know what? That's
they
fair.
do not have that option.
Yeah. Little mechanical details of note on this, just to show because it's kind of cool. The little blade holster that is optional and attaches to the back actually has like 2 little arms so it can pop out a little further. And also it has a sliding mechanism so it can slide the blade forward for him to grab it. So it looks simple, but it's actually a surprisingly complex little bit of machinery there. That's fun. But that's really it when it comes to like details for the machine. It's not, you know, it's got its swords and that's it. We don't even have really like art of the cannons in spite of it using them. They're just kind of in the top of the wings, like where the blue area is. They, you know, they point forward, but you know, that's it.
It's kind of astonishing that none of the obviously the anime came out in such a time where there were rights issues, right? But like Breaker Battle Log or GB4 or the mobile, Breaker Mobile, nobody's been like, hey, let's do a variant of the Bael. There are no variants of the Bael Cannon or otherwise.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of wild, given what a clean design it is with room to make it messy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely in a build show. I guess you can't really do it in IBO, given, well, the whole thing is this thing was just locked in a fucking prison vault for, however many years we are into the post-calamity era. But yeah, no, then...
Tell me you're not surprised there wasn't like an event boss or something in Breaker Mobile that was like a Bael with endless waltz wings.
Yeah, no. Also, just to share a couple more pieces of art that are kind of fun. Here is Washio's more up-detailed, like, line art. Switch that a little. It's the same design, and theoretically it would have a similar color layout. It's just he draws more detail on it, obviously, than the Sete has. Just, I presume if they ever do a master grade for it, it'll probably look very similar to this art.
Well, it'll be after my move, but I'll build that full mechanics, and we'll see how close it is. Have you? I mean, I guess you've probably seen reviews of the full mechanics.
Yeah, I haven't built it, but I have seen it. The even funnier thing with the Bael is it's a design that didn't really go through that many drafts. Here's like some early color testing for it, but we don't have like or even earlier art of it. There's a version that's actually all white with like a almost lilac kind of like accent. Which I kind of dig just because of the audacity of how simple it is.
The incredible softness of the blue is really compelling.
But yeah, I mean, these are the sketchier versions of it, and even then, that's it. He just kind of nailed the Bael in one go.
It's kind of the tall geese of post-disaster, huh?
Mm-hmm. Funnily,
it's also the first Gundam frame.
Funnily, when it came to the design competition from Washio, this is not really a super related design, but when he had a design what a bad rival like Gundam would look like for IBO, this was his entry, funnily enough, which looks like it has beam cannons, because it just, I don't know if the rules were fully established yet. No, I guess they were, because I know that the Barbatos, so I guess they maybe are just like railguns or something, but... And, like, I guess...
Or maybe there's going to be some reveal of, like, maybe he had in mind something of, like, given this whole setting is largely, like, one of the setting details is that beams are useless, this one has special beams that bypass that or something,
But it's just funny seeing that, like, early Washio design there, because it's like, I'm like, that's, like, the closest to, like, an early Bael, because it's, like, an early rival, but even then, the Bael's not really a rival, it's our main character's ally, the worst ally they could have ever had.
Yeah.
And then, 20 years later or whatever, it's a footnote in history known as the McGillis-Fareed incident, where this crazy guy stole the Declaration of Independence and was like, this makes me legitimate. And then he got killed. And maybe some orphans helped him, but, the end.
I love that both sides battle, like, both sides appealing to the, like, neutral parties. McGinnis was like, I stole the Declaration of Independence, you should side with me. And Rustle was like, that motherfucker stole the Declaration of Independence.
He's crazy. And I mean, he kind of is. He really is the thing. Like, you know, you
I mean, the reveal is he's a child.
He's a child. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He was a, you know, obviously the backstory, I don't think it's like handled too badly. I know some people don't like it, but you know, he was abused as a child, and he's just kind of had an arrested development since then. He's like, I won't care about anyone, and I'm gonna get back at everyone who hurt me by using people. And that's his entire thing. Yeah, he is literally a kind of a child. Still. And it's so funny because you don't realize that at first, because he's like just like an ace pilot guy who's like a high-ranking Gallarhorn guy, so, you know, he's probably normal, right? Like, actually, everyone in Gallarhorn is not normal, arguably. Rustle is the most realpolitik guy of all of them, and unfortunately for McGillis, he kind of killed everyone who was also a weirdo like him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the other point of the ending, you know. Galio is like, hey, if you told me and you told Carta what was going on, we probably would have just helped you. Like, with your ambition.
Which is... Galio is a little delusional here. Carta would not have.
I don't know! She literally makes an entire blonde crew to look like Galio, or McGillis. Sorry, I'm mixing up the names because they both have G in it.
It's true, but all she cares about is being a noble stepping on the faces of peasants. That's the only thing she gives a shit about in the world.
Here's the thing, though. She does care about that, but if McGillis told her that it was noble actually to do noblesse oblige, I think she would just go with it.
That's probably
Again,
true.
She literally has an entire crew of... I've recruited these boys and essentially groomed them into being little mini McGillises that are like my servants. Which I love the detail of when you realize, wait a minute, why are all of her soldiers just like blonde guys with the same haircut as McGillis, and you're like, oh, she is down bad for this guy. Oh, it's so funny. But yeah, no, I do like that, you know, McGillis has generally been drawn in a very, like, composed way most of the time, and I do like that in the final battle, every time you get a zoom in on his face, his eyes are, like, you know, wide with, like, his, like, amazement, and he just looks deranged the entire time. Like, in a way that he doesn't look throughout the rest of the show. Just when he's piloting the Bael at the end, he's just so, you know...
Yeah, they dial the boyishness way up.
And he's just, like, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Again, I enjoy the tragedy personally, but yeah. Anyway, that's a lot of notes about the character, but we're basically we're done with them, you know?
Yeah.
That's the Bael. Kind of a quick episode. It is indeed. So, man,
yeah,
it needs to be one.
Yeah, I get to take a shower before work, so thank
you. Six, where can people find you and your work online?
You can find me on Blue Sky, 6.scanlinemedia.com. You can find my work at scanline.com or patreon.com/scanlinemedia, and you can talk with us and other listeners over on the Scanline Media Discord, link down in the show notes. We would love to chat with you, and also you can make requests. The next episode will be a request episode, and you get your requests and we'll roll. We'll see what we're talking about. Dylan, what about you?
You can find me over on Blue Sky at Low Poly Robot, where I mostly just post games and random idle thoughts and robots, so yeah. And then I occasionally pop in on the Discord and whatnot and say things. And yeah, that's me. Alright.
Alright. Well, until next time, folks. Peace out.
Peace.